Wow! After 10,000 years, I'm free. Free to podcast about Power Rangers.
Becca, Jake's escaped. Time to make a podcast with attitude.
Hello and welcome to our introductory episodes to Once More with Morphin, where we jump back to the 90s and watch Power Rangers 4 episodes or arcs at a time, because we ain't splitting the stories here. I'm Becca and I am joined by the lovely Jake, who is joining me on this little trip down memory lane. How are you doing today?
Everyone. Yeah, hi. Thanks for that wonderful intro. But yeah, resident kaiju fan and lapsed Power Rangers fan, I would say.
I think we all are, because I watch Power Rangers, like Mighty Morphin, the movies, and then I didn't really watch it until the early 2000s again. So I missed like a massive chunk. I didn't get back into it until like Time Force, and then my parents probably regret ever getting cable television, because I then just consumed Power Rangers, and then I discovered Sentai existed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, I guess like, yeah, I'm kind of the same. As soon as it started doing turbo stuff and they all had cars, I was like, not really into cars. I like the dinosaurs and the monsters. But yeah, same sort of thing, because I started, I would say, watching anime on like Fox Kids and stuff, and then that would have like, some Power Rangers would bleed in, like Dino Thunder and stuff like that, where like I'd occasionally see an episode and I'd be like, oh look, Tommy's back and he like leads the team now. It's like, I'd see like bits and pieces and be like, oh, this is actually higher quality than the stuff I was
Yeah. I don't think I really would have appreciated Power Rangers in space until I was an elder teen. I don't think I would have appreciated just how amazing that series is. But I'm glad that I got back into it in Time Force, because that is an epic series. And if we carry on, as long as hopefully we do, and we get to that series, I can't wait, because that is an awesome series. But we are literally going right the way back to the beginning, the early 90s, 1983, and going.
And like, it's not that I can't remember a time before Power Rangers. I can, but I don't remember like what the first episode I ever saw would be. It just kind of like appeared on the TV and suddenly it was the biggest thing ever.
Yes. See, I don't remember like the first episode. I know that we were posh and we had Sky Kids, so I can remember watching Tommy's Return on cable, but I can also remember the Green Ranger beating the Power Rangers in the summer holidays on ITV3, because I have this vivid imagery of Mr. Motivator being involved.
And being like, oh, sorry everyone, Tommy's a really bad guy, isn't he? Anyway, back to calisthenics.
I can remember this. I literally have this vivid memory of it all, because it was on ITV free, when they had kids TV on like terrestrial TV, and like in the summer holidays were literally 4 hours every weekday in the mornings of kids shows. You had X-Men on BBC One, and then you had Power Rangers on ITV ITV, because there wasn't any other one. And
the golden age
of television. But us diving back into this, it's been a bit of an eye-opener, because we started a conversation before we started recording about sort of, we didn't realise Sentai, obviously they did the 40 episodes, and then obviously Saban was like, oh crap, I've ran out of footage, it's become popular, because they didn't expect it to become as popular as it did.
Yeah.
And then they had to go to the creators of Sentai, of Zoranger, and be like, please sir, can I have some more? And they created actual American footage for this. I didn't realise that until we started this little journey, and how many monsters and how much extra footage they made was amazing.
Yeah, and like, because it's really confusing, because what everyone told you, even back in the day, like I remember my parents knowing this somehow, like whether like, oh yeah, it's just like it's Japanese footage edited together and stuff, and you're like, okay, it makes sense, and you kind of move on. But then when you like, if you watch it with adult eyes, then you're like, oh, hang on, like they have the ranger suits in America. Like you can tell it's like in the American sets, and I'm like, hang
Yeah.
on. And they have putty suits, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, it's not actually just all spliced footage. Like they were
Yeah.
actually getting like trying to get some props and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It's fascinating when you watch it because obviously in the original Sentai version, the Blue Ranger is the comedy ranger, and you can
Mhm.
see that in a lot of the early footage. But then once they kind of get to Zoo 2,
Yeah.
you can see that obviously Billy is the brains of this. And I feel like I've got some justification because on my research, when I was watching the first episode, The Day of Disaster, when they come out of the command center and
Yeah.
you've got that big aerial shot, I kept trying to pause this episode because I was like, that is not Trini. That is not the actress that I know and love. It
Yeah.
was the original actress, the one that obviously wanted a little bit too much money, and Saban fired her.
Right, okay.
Yeah, have you actually seen the pilot episode?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think this needs to be a special. We need to.
Yeah.
I will find the footage. I've got it somewhere. We need to watch the original pilot episode, not the
Yeah,
Day of the Dumpster, like the original one with the original actress when Bulk and Skull on in it, so to speak.
Okay.
There's a different bully, but we have to watch that. That has to be a special because I think you'd have really
Yeah.
appreciated this. But I kept going to myself, going, no, it is. It's the original actress, and it's just a couple of split seconds. And I was like,
Yeah.
justification.
They left it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the interesting thing is like when they did re-recordings as well, they even tried to take into like the Saban lore into account where they were like, okay, we'll have the green and pink ranger hang around
Yes.
together more,
Yeah.
and we'll make like the yellow ranger less lady, sorry, like less manly,
Yeah,
like...
because obviously for anyone who doesn't realise, in Sentai, a lot of the Yellow Rangers are male. Unless they have specifically a skirt,
Yeah.
they are not, they're not female. But what I love about Power Rangers is the later it got into series, so even like Dino Fury, or maybe the one after Dino Fury, which has a female Green Ranger, well, she rips off her dress. She literally morphs, rips off her dress, and is like, skirts don't suit me. And I love the fact that it took 29 years to get to that stage. But it's fascinating. Like
When you think about it, like they don't need skirts to denote. When you're in ranger form, like, it's like you're a ranger. It's like a uniform.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so at the time, like I was like, I've always been into like Japanese stuff, but when you're a kid, you don't know it's Japanese because the overdub stuff, and you're like, I don't know, it's just like a giant robot show. I've got no idea. This is an anime from like the late 70s that they've just put out in the 90s, and I'm just watching it, I guess. But when you start kind of like seeing the Sentai like everywhere in sort of Japanese stuff, like in Dragon Ball Z, there's like an evil group called the Ginyu Force that are basically a Toku Sentai group. Even though they're evil, which is like backwards, but they've got all the goofball like poses and stuff. Like they all line up in a row and do like the pose, and all the normal characters are like, what the hell are these guys doing and stuff like that.
Love it.
And they have like stupid, like, over the top moves, and you don't really think about it as a kid, but it's like one of them can like stop time and the other one can like body switch, and they have like the magic monster of the week type crazy moves and stuff. And it's a very big part of Japanese culture.
Yeah,
and
it really is. And like
somehow they made it a massive part of our culture.
I
Like,
know.
against
And
all odds.
it's really fascinating for anyone who obviously isn't into the Power Ranger lore quite as much as myself and Jake. Like Sentai has existed since the 70s in obviously Japan, and originally Saban wanted to bring over the Power Rangers in like the early 80s because he'd seen the success of the X-Men animated series. But it
Can you imagine the different world we would have lived in, though, where Paul and Sammy were into Power Rangers and we were like, that old thing? It was like from the mid-80s. It would be a different world.
Oh no, we can't be mean to them because I want to just thank Paul because Paul has made this amazing surround.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and I actually think this is probably one of the best ones he's ever done, and it's all ours. And I love
so colourful.
I love him for it because I literally went to him going, Paul, I'm really struggling to make a background. I can't. The footage is too old. I can't make any pretty images. And he was like, oh, give me 10 minutes. And literally within about 20 minutes he'd made this. I was like,
Paul's amazing.
Yes, we love
get
Paul.
better soon.
Yes,
be less stressed because we love you.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, okay, so this is like our first sort of intro to why we love it and stuff.
Yes.
And it was a massive part of 90s culture as a kid. The thing that got me the most, I think, was the toys, because I was lucky enough to have very nice parents who bought me like the real Megazord, all the different connecting parts, not like a figure version that was pre-connected.
Oh my goodness, the fake Power Ranger toys.
Well, yeah, it might have been real, but it was like, oh, here's a Megazord that doesn't detach, and I'm like, that's not good enough, because like that's another thing. Transformers, it was also around the same time, and my favorite were the connecting ones, like the Constructicons that became like Devastator. Oh, actually, I'm wearing a Soundwave t-shirt right now. So that's another Japanese show that they moved over, and lucky for the American people dubbing this stuff, they just had toy molds they could use. They could be like, Japan, can we have the Zeo Ranger toy molds, please? And they were like, yeah, I guess we'll print up some more for you guys and call it Megazord if you really want. But the Dragon Zord was just the most beautiful thing in the world to a young child like me, and I loved it so much.
See,
and I wish I'd kept it.
I never had toys like that, but my parents got me the VHSs. I'm actually going to take a picture of the VHSs because I've still got them. And what else did I have? I also had like these little figurines. They are somewhere in the house, but I don't know where they are. But they were little tiny figurines. I don't know if they were like they're plastic and they move. So I don't know. But I'm gonna see if I can find them. But obviously I have adult money now, and I have been able to buy all the things that I've not been able to have when I was a child. Like for anyone who's ever seen any episode of Women of Nerd Culture knows that I've got the Yellow Ranger daggers. And I've got Funko Pops, and I really am gutted that they're not going to do the power bow because I would absolutely love that. But
Did you notice they called like some of the weapons a couple of different things in these first couple of episodes? It was definitely like power daggers at one point and then something else, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, the lore is a little bit shifty at this point because like you said, they did not have any money to make this. They did not think it was going to be successful. The actors at the time didn't think it was going to be successful. Walter Jones missed the first interview round because he was on a cruise ship, because he was a cruise ship entertainer. Amy Jo Johnson was literally about to move back home from LA. And they didn't realize. But what I didn't realize is that Jason Frank actually interviewed as Jason the Red Ranger. He was in the running for that position, and I can't imagine him as Jason. I literally cannot imagine it. Yes, Austin St. John is a very naughty man, but he is the only person that I can imagine as Jason, and it's probably why he was brought over from the original pilot. But
we're probably going to face this a bunch, like once we go through, but we'll probably have like culture shock of like, this isn't the correct Ranger group, like when things change. But yeah, I'm excited to get into it, and I'm sure we'll drop some more trivias about what the hell's going on this crazy ride.
It's going to be a bit of a crazy ride. It really is, because this is memory lane, and we're watching it through completely different eyes, because I think I watched some of this about 3 or 4 years ago when my little one was tiny, because she wanted to watch Power Rangers after we'd watched the In Space all the way through. She didn't like Lost Galaxy, so I was like, oh, we'll go back to the beginning. But I haven't.
And you were like, oh, this is insane actually to watch.
But but it's definitely an interesting ride, and obviously we want everyone to come along with us, so we are going to be watching them in order. So if you want to watch along with us and see the madness that is the beginning of Power Rangers, because like you've said, it is a cultural phenomenon. You know, it lasted 30 years. And it doesn't just have the shows, it has comic books, it has games, it has movies.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Does it ever have a movie?
It has 2 movies.
Yeah, which I know you've already talked about with Paul and Sammy, which was a great episode.
It
but
is.
We'll have to talk about it again.
We will. We'll have to watch it in order when it comes up, because I love this movie so much.
That was an absolute phenomenon when it was out as well. That was a crazy time to be a child.
But what I didn't realize is, you know, the song "Higher Ground" from the movie.
Yeah.
In the original pilot.
Yeah.
That song is the first song that you ever hear.
Yeah, I had it on tape. So you could get this magazine back in the day. It had like a yellow VHS tape on the front, and it was like sneak peek at the Power Rangers movie, and it had a different song, but because I'd watched that on repeat so many times, it always stuck in my head like the song is different, like every time I started the real movie.
Yes.
So yeah, I have seen the actual sort of early footage, but I looked and I could not find that videotape sort of put anywhere on the internet, because I would really like to watch it again to see if there's like actual interviews and stuff, because I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
I was just like the snowboarding in the sky.
Yeah. So as you can see, we are very excited, and we are very much looking forward to sharing this little journey with you guys. But yeah, if you've got any comments, likes, any suggestions, any facts, we would love to, you know, if you've got some Ranger lore that you want to share with us, just drop it below in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a probably good first quick intro thing to how we feel about the whole thing. And it's an evolving show. We'll figure out our intros and outros as we go.
Yes. We are learning as we go and how we're going to be doing things. So, because this is the first time that me and Jake have probably been on screen.
It's like a solo, well, a duo project for sure.
We've got no one looking after us. We are literally running the show. So, yes. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.